Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I hit the wrong couple buttons here this morning, so all the notifications did not make it out right on time here. So it's going to be a bit of a delay. So I'll give it a few moments for everyone to get caught up and logged in. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm Wave Meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to, it's Storm Talk, but as you saw in the title, it's Storm/Snow Talk on this AT&T outage day. What a weird thing that is right now, right? Everyone's phones not working properly there. Hopefully we figure out what that is. We do know that the Weather Service did look at the idea of whether or not a solar flare would have been involved in that today and that kind of an outage, and they ruled that out. So while that was an impressive one, it was not apparently the cause. So we'll keep you updated on the news side. All right, so let's see. Hello, Steve from Brandenburg. Hope you're doing well. Well, let me get rid of the spammers here real quick. There's quite a few of them. Apparently the outage is not stopping them whatsoever. All right, looks like we got just about everybody in. Again, sorry, I hit a couple wrong buttons here, so it's a little bit of a lag and everyone joining. But here's the thing, I got a lot to cover here today. So I'm going to, I always say that I'm going to speed through this and I'm going really slow, but I am going to try to go through this at a pretty steady pace. There's so many different things I want to cover. I'm not going to be able to get into a lot of detail on some of these just yet. We just got to take it one step at a time on that. And then if I get to the end here and I haven't answered your question, let me know and I'll get back to it. Okay, so let's get started. And everyone joining in, again, if you missed the very beginning of this, remember that as soon as this feed does stop, it will automatically replay on social media and I will be posted on the website and on the app itself. It'll be posted. It takes like 20 more minutes, but it will be on there if you wanted to watch it back. If you miss anything, which you won't. Okay, so it is obviously cloudy. Mainly dry, though, in wave country. Today, it's all about a pair of systems coming our way to increase the rain chance. We haven't seen too much in the way of showers yet, fully expected. That side of things, everything looks good there. Just cloudy, breezy outside, and warm. We are in the 60s at the moment, lower 60s in several spots, actually, into wave country. But as I mentioned, there are those two pieces that we'll be tracking today. The first one is already starting to really light up the radar across the I-70 and north corridor into the Ohio Valley. The second one hasn't really found its mark yet. It is not expected to really light up on the radar until we get into this afternoon. But both of them are working more to the east than they are south. So because of that, there is quite the overlap that happens right across really wave country in the I-64 corridor down to the parkways. That zone is where these two will work together to really enhance the radar. And in some cases, quite a bit of heavy rain for this afternoon. Your severe threat, by the way, it's very low end to the south. Your better wind fields and instability in general, because it's so cloudy everywhere here. It's down across areas not far from Tunica, Mississippi. But that is, again, a low end risk at best. I do see, however, there is a slightly more elevated hail potential across the I-64 corridor. This is not unusual given this kind of a setup. Not large hailstones, but maybe some pea-sized hail in some of these that get going today that have lightning and thunder with them especially. Just don't be surprised if you see and hear reports of hail coming through. Hold on, I got another spammer. We had some creative spammers today. All right, hold on one second. All right. Okay, got that taken care of. Thank you. I appreciate our patience on that. I need to have like a mod. Maybe one of you guys could be my mod. Would you be willing to be a mod for the chat? Probably not a good idea. Okay, so here's the future cast on this, showing the rain really enhancing by 1 o'clock. We should see a difference, but certainly about 2 to 3 o'clock, you'll see quite a bit of it filled in. And this is bad timing for the kids getting out of school. Rush hour this afternoon, just messy out there. So these rainfall rates will be fairly impressive. So there will be some ponding of water on the roadways, hydroplane type of issues. So just plan ahead this afternoon. Take it slow. Don't be in a hurry. And watch for that ponding of water on some of the area interstates especially that may catch you off guard. All right, this moves in and moves out fairly quick. That's the good news. So it takes a while to ramp up, but once it gets going, it is in a hurry to leave town. So before midnight, this is gone. Out here at the south, we do cool down, but nothing, drastic. It's about a 20-degree difference, don't get me wrong, but still 40s is not, it's not too shabby. Rainfall amounts, just because of the training effect on these bands, can get up there over an inch. And I don't know if it's going to be 1 0.46 or not in Louisville, but if the bands do, again, there's going to be somewhat of a gap, a displacement between the two waves, but if they do end up forming fairly close in time and spatially, then you'll end up with a fairly repeated area that's going to get some heavy rainfall. So again, please use caution, and don't be surprised if we get some isolated cases of some flood advisories that could come out this afternoon. Okay, so what's next? Well, we get a quiet day Friday, but then we get into the snow part on Saturday. Now, here's what's interesting about this feature. Yes, we have a warm ground. Yes, overall temperatures are very marginal with this, but this little feature has got quite the kick to it. It's interesting to watch it evolve the past few days. And a lot of the high res data now is able to see this, and it really allows for it to have quite the little kick. And timing is actually good. If you're going to get any type of brief snow out of any system this time of the year, almost in every case, it's going to have to be a nocturnal event or very early in the morning. And that's exactly what this will do. Note the clock here, it is at midnight, may start as light rain, but as that low, you have to look at it as a small mini clipper, very, very compact system that'll have a spin to it, just kind of drops down into Kentucky. Now, I will say there's some modeling that takes this little center spin of it a little more towards Cincinnati and East Kentucky. I don't see much west. It's either along or east of 65 has been the zone that keeps showing up. So it's still iffy for those along 65, but if you're east, your opportunity is better. As we get to 4 o'clock in the morning, now we're getting that rain snow mixture. This is the max potential now. Here we are near sunrise temperatures. Not too far from freezing. Certainly cold enough that it can try to stick. Rate is key. I'll show you that in a second. Otherwise, a light snow on a warm ground will just melt on contact. Either way, the roads will be just fine. No impact on the roads. So that's something I can just share right out of the gate. This is more of an issue of will you be able to visually see this accumulate on the ground, or will it just fade away as the flakes hit the ground? Either way, for snow lovers, you're going to have to set your alarm and get up early. This will pass on by, and then we're end up done with this for the rest of the day, although it's going to be quite the cold day on Saturday. Here's what's interesting, though. I was looking at the high-res Euro that came in. This is the same feature, but this is hard to read. But what you're looking at is visibility. And the visibility drops to at least 1 mile, in some cases less than 1 mile, with the snowfall. And why is that important? Well, that would indicate larger flakes at a bit of a moderate rate that is taking place. Now, there is some potential into eastern Kentucky of maybe a snow squall that can develop out of this, because it is such a compact system, and it will have a bit of warmth to work with in advance of it to maybe kick things up there. We'll see. I'll look at that a little more toward the midday data, and I'll post on social, or I'll mention on the newscast today if there's anything significant on that. I doubt that it will be, but still, this is interesting that it's got a little kick to it. Could you get a nice little coating of snow on the ground? Yes, I think it is possible. I normally wouldn't say that, and I certainly didn't say that yesterday. But today, if the rate starts to kick in and hold, then yes, this can do it. This can do it. But if it goes back to a lighter snow, weaker profile in general, then no. I still think we can get snow that'll at least fall from the sky. That's not bad considering how bad the winter has been. All right, then we get after that, and then I'm telling you, it's a rapid switch here from Saturday into Sunday. We're jumping into the 60s on Sunday. Gusty winds, so a 20-degree difference, if not more, in a jump in temperature. So plan your house cleaning, your indoor stuff, chores, errands, maybe. Just do it on Saturday, because Sunday is actually not going to be a bad day. Now, the wind will be a bit annoying. The wind's going to ramp up, but it will be a decent day to where you'll be able to get outside a little more. So plan anything outside a little more on Sunday. Okay. All right. So then we get into next week, and this is what we've been tracking now for several days. We had the alert day put out for this system. As always, we try to get these alert days out. I mean, we can, our goal, of course, is always try to get alert days out even as far out as 10 days at the very end of our 10-day outlook. That's rare for that to happen, because confidence has to be at a certain level in a certain scenario playing out. It can't be, like a 10% chance basically of snow or severe weather. That's just not how we operate on our approach to alert days. But if confidence is decent, even on a day 7 outlook, then we will throw alert day out. And that's exactly the case we're facing, because again, we're looking at the the larger setup here of how this is going to evolve, not the finer details. And the finer details will indeed matter when we get closer, but still just looking at the overall setup, it's still going to be a fairly high impact event. So this low pressure, it's actually two that'll be combining into one, but it is such a large stretch of the country into Canada that is going to be influenced by this. This is a massive system. The warm flow will kick in as we head into Monday and Tuesday. It will be windy. May even get to a wind advisory set up on Tuesday, just general wind here. What I'm watching for, what you see the red is the fuel, your severe threat. That will all be based on timing more than anything. When it moves in the afternoon into between, I would say, 3 p.m. to midnight, that's the time period that you want to avoid on a front moving into a very humid type setup. That can lead to a stronger setup of thunderstorms. And if you're outside of that window, usually you can reduce that threat. In this case, the wind fields are quite strong. So even without a lot of fuel, you're still going to have some issues here when it comes to very strong winds. And it wouldn't take much height to these showers and storms to gain to have that potential to put the wind, the stronger wind gusts down to the ground level. That's our concern. As we get into Wednesday, this is the Euro. GFS, by the way, is fairly similar on this, but they like the afternoon timing still, afternoon to the evening. The only thing that may help us that I'm starting to see today, but it's still early, is that this is what we call a muddy warm sector. In other words, there is a lot of noise that develops in advance of it, of showers Wednesday morning. I'm starting to see signs of that. That's something to watch. If we can develop that a little more, then when we get the main line to come through, you can still get a squall line, if you will, of thunderstorms, but there could be some sort of an inversion that can set up to prevent the strongest of winds from getting down below the tree line. That can happen in a cold season type scenario like this is, but it's not always a guarantee on that. So something we'll watch. I hope that's the case, because we don't want this. We don't want this drama, right? But certainly need to watch it. All up and down the Ohio Valley, it's the same storyline. Every weather office, TV station, everyone's talking about this system because it is such a large one. The dry punch behind it is pretty dramatic. There's still a chance that you try to see some of this go to snow, but if it was a window for it to go to snow, it'd be very brief, because the amount of moisture in the air just gets yanked out of the atmosphere quickly behind this front. So there's not much there to work with, and that'll be out here by Thursday. But cold, we may get a couple of days and barely into the 40s after this. And temperatures likely down into lower 20s in some cases. So yeah, very cold setup after this goes by. Here's the update from CSU, the Colorado State Learning Module for Tuesday. And you can see, I'm going to bring this full screen. And there's the Storm Prediction Center. They finally got severe risk up on the maps now for this. So you can see this is Tuesday, where it's impacting Illinois areas to our west for the very first round of thunderstorms to break out Tuesday afternoon and evening. Then we get into Wednesday, and we don't have the red on us as we did before. That is likely going to keep changing as we head into Wednesday. But you can see that the Storm Prediction Center did outlook us, all of us in Wave Country, with a severe risk, which is something that you don't see too often that far out. Not unheard of, but you don't see it often. So I still think we're at still the tracking stages on this. Again, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on it yet. We have so many things before that happens to check off the list, but at least you guys fully aware of it. And I'm hoping by the time we get into Monday that we can say, guess what? Everything looks a lot better than what it did. That's always the goal, right? All right. So one other thing I want to mention on this system that I think is interesting, that is not really a severe weather parameter, is the temperature drop that takes place. Here are the temperatures of wind chills. This is the Euro. Here we go, 60s with the round of thunderstorms moving through at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. And now this grid has a bit of a delay to it, but still 6 hours later, we're in the 30s with wind chills into the 20s and teens into Indiana. And we keep dropping into the 20s with wind chills and teens in some areas by Thursday morning. So that is quite the drop the system's going to have on Wednesday, which is another reason why, again, it's got a nice kick to it on wind, and any severe potential could develop along it. It's a dramatic push, not only dry air, but cold air that comes in behind this, and that's what's fueling this bad boy. All right, so any questions on any of that I did not answer? Let's see, Cameron. I haven't looked at the models yet, but SBC out now. I'm hearing it's not showing strong signals for Dixie as it still is for us. It's basically both scenarios. To be honest with the Cameron, there may be two areas of severe that can develop. You can get one a little closer to the low, and you can get one on the bottom of the front, the trough portion of that, where the trough digs. You can get one that can develop there. But in general, this should be a fairly lengthy, just squall line. Some portions of it may be stronger than other, but there should be a line of very intense rain and thunderstorms that's going to cover probably 5 states or so that'll sweep on by. This is going to move fast. That's good. We don't have to dwell on this for hours and hours and hours on Wednesday. This is going to develop. It's going to race through here in probably about 90 minutes to 2 hours. It may be all the way through wave country. It's going to be very quick. So it moves in, moves out, and we're out of there. But during that window, Wednesday evening, we just need to be weather aware. And again, it's Thursday right now, so there's still time for this to change. But that's the way it's looking right now. Let's see. Will this be an outbreak of severe thunderstorms? Possibly a tornado outbreak. I do not see a signal for that yet, and we're not going to in a lot of detail this far out. But as far as getting severe thunderstorm warnings up and down the line, yeah, I guess I think you can call that an outbreak potential. But as far as a tornado outbreak, no one knows that yet. Too early. Let's see. Metro, do you think we'll get a PDS? I don't know on that one. I have seen worse outlooks and worse setups for storms that did not get a PDS than what this one has next week. If that gives you an idea that it looks active, but it does not look to be a end of the world kind of system or anything like that. So I'm hoping it stays that way. And that's the overall trend. I think it just looks like a typical round of severe weather, a lot of wind, and just a dramatic change. I mean, a very changeable day there on Wednesday. Let's see. Angela, yeah, sweater shorts. It's that time of the year. I mean, I love the warmer weather because I keep thinking, you know what, this is good because our energy bills were not great this last round because of the January outbreak of cold. So I'm hoping this warmer weather would just help our bills, right? That would be a good thing. And we've had a very warm February, so we should see an improvement. But that's only plus these warm spells. The bad news is when you go back and forth, especially for you gardeners out there, it makes it difficult on agriculture to get anything planted. And you run into damage potential, especially if you get freezing temperatures without any snow. You run into more problems of anything that tries to bloom or leaf out a little early than normal with the warm air. That's the only thing about spring that, you know, spring is one of those seasons you just don't want to mess with on temperature. You want to try to ease into that warm flow and stay there and get to that level. It rarely happens that way, but that's what allows for a really nice spring. It's when you go back and forth all the way into May, it makes the damage can show up for a while, and it just makes everything difficult for the summer too. Those of you plant, you know what I'm talking about. Windy in Central Kentucky. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be windy all day today. Gusts could even get up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Marty, what's a PDS? Particularly dangerous situation. Rare to see those. David, I'm still holding out for a colder than average spell. Lasts more than 2 days. It's 48 hours and gone. I'm still there with you. And you know what? Travis, I know, is on here. I had a chance to talk about the stratospheric warming event. I know we've talked about back and forth this week. It is significant what's happening there, but it doesn't always tell the full story of where the cold will go. I promise you I'll come back around and get into that. But I do think we've got, as I've said several times already, several more cold attacks will keep happening. But the problem with that is each time they enter the lower 48, that's when we have to deal with what we got coming our way next week. The risk for thunderstorms and a lot of wind. So there's good and bad on that for snow lovers. So kind of a back and forth. So this is an important time of the year, guys. Make sure you get the Wave Weather app downloaded. You can turn on your notifications, easy to do. And you can use Wi-Fi. You don't have to use AT&T. But use Wi-Fi and just get everything set for heavy rain or lightning or any particular type of warning just for your area to be notified. I suggest that you set it for your area, but also set it for to be notified for anything approaching from north and west. Typically the case. All right, I got to run. It's 10 minutes after 10, and I got a lot to still do to get ready for midday today. So I appreciate you as always. I'll have updates on the radar course and the shows coming up, and we'll look at all this again tomorrow and see how it's looking at that time. All right, guys, sound fair? Have a good one. Enjoy the rainy day. Stay inside. Take a good nap and watch some TV there. particularly the news.